Okay. All right. So Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone for our Thursday Bhagavad Gita session. Today is 25th of May, Thursday, and such a wonderful day. Of course, the weather is very intolerable. I'm not sure about other place, but in Ipoh, the weather is terrible. Right. So whatever it is, we are destined to go through this kind of suffering. We can't escape, right? So last week we have gone through this chapter 9, all right? Such a wonderful chapter, all right? And today we're going to go on, all right? The continuation from chapter 9 is in chapter 7, chapter 10, all right? So before we start, so please close your eyes or just meditate that your spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, is just right in front of you. Offer them with a beautiful garland. The garland you can meditate like made of beautiful roses, white, pink, red combination roses, or lotuses, or whatever. All right, just meditate that you're offering that the lotus flower. I mean the garland and the flower to Guru Parampara, and of course Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the reason that what we do this, that's what we call invocation. We want to invoke, all right? Invoking, or in other words, in a modern term, we also call it like ice breaking. But ice breaking is different. But invoking means you're invoking their mercy, right? Because without the mercy of the spiritual master, it is not possible for us to go near Krishna. It is impossible, right? In fact, as you know that in chapter 10, Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that he is the only one can remove the ignorance born out of darkness. Remember, right? With the torch of knowledge. And that knowledge we derive by the mercy, not by the teaching, by the mercy of the spiritual master, right? So let's do our invocation prayer. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitamina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Swaparantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uttapada Kamlam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Sagar Jadam Shaha Gana Raghunathan Vidam Tamsa Jivam Sakaitam Savduta Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Jayapataka Swami Tinamini Namacharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaura Kada Damadaya Nagara Gramatarini Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasachari Starini Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Tinamine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitai Kripabdai Krishna Sambandha Vignana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojvala Premadya Sri Rupanuga Bhakti Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtai Dina Tarine Rupanuga Viruddha Pasidanta Dvanta Harini Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtai Vipralambra Sambodhe Padam Pujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Sarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Vir Bhava Bhumestum Nidasa Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarubhauma Sri Jagannatha Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubevacha Paritanam Pavinibhyo Vaishnavebhayo Namo Namaha Om Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauradise Namaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namustute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanustute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nitya Ananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, let's recite this verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All right. So today our discussion is on chapter 10. Right, chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so just to recap what we have read last week. In chapter 9 is the most confidential knowledge. Okay, so where did Krishna starts? Okay, so Krishna starts from, he said, I shall impart to you the most confidential knowledge. So Krishna says he will impart. Okay, so now is the process of getting downloaded, right? So we are getting downloaded all that information from Krishna, right? That's in verse 1. And in verse 2, Krishna says he's the king of education, all right? Because knowing this, you consider you knew everything, all right? There are many kinds of education and knowledge. Some are mundane, useless, like especially when you read newspaper, it is so useless because nothing can be done. Okay, it's just basically you're paying for to read some bad news. And some reviews nowadays in WhatsApp, Facebook, all these are wasting time. All these are unnecessary knowledge, all right? And some knowledge we require in a family upbringing. Some knowledge we require for our job to make money. And some we need to require for us to like go on a daily life, right? But among all that, the ultimate knowledge is this Bhagavad Gita in the chapter 9, because he says this is the king of knowledge. Because why they call this king of knowledge? Because this knowledge gives you liberation. All right, this knowledge can break your cycle, the cycle of birth and death, right? At the same time, Krishna also warns in text 3 that those who are not faithful, they cannot get this kind of knowledge. And in text 4, Krishna says that I pervade, I support everything. Everything is within me. Okay. And in chapter 5, okay. So like that we go through all the thing, and also Krishna also says what happen if you become his devotee, what happen if you become the devotee of others. At the same time, Krishna also says that whatever ways and means that you do, everything comes from me because I give the intelligence, all right? But at the same time, Krishna says you are doing it in the wrong way. Then ultimately, the final verse, Krishna says in 34 that man mana bhavamat bhakto mat yajimam namaskuru maham evesha shuktayum atmanamat parayana. What Krishna straightaway say, engage your mind always thinking of me. Krishna wants that. Become my devotee. Then offer obeisances to me. Okay, worship me. By doing this, usually you will become very absorbed. But what Krishna says, being completely absorbed, right? So being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So that was the final ending of chapter 9. So now we are starting chapter 10, the continuation. Okay, so now Krishna, that means all the while Krishna was talking. Now in chapter, Krishna is continuing, right? Shri Sha Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Bhuya Eva Bhu, right? Bhuya Eva Mahabaho. Okay, Mahabaho, right? Shrinu. Okay, you see the word, okay, this S, shampoo, Sha, okay, R and Rin. So when you put R dot down and N dot now, you just go down from your flanks. So it sounds like Re. Okay, it sounds like Re. So how is it? Shrinu, right? Shrinu me, E means you can pull the raga. Paramang, okay, M with the dot on top. So we're going to pronounce from the nose, M. So so paramang vachaha, not vachaha, vachaha, yatte aham. Okay, when you see there's apostrophe there and H, that means there's a silent A. So how are we going to pronounce? We're going to combine. So yatyaham. Okay, but we don't say yatyaham, yatyeham. Yatyeham. So there's a become very silent. So yatyeham, hang, m. All right. Okay, you see there's a dash on top. Priyamanaya na. All right, the na from the flanks because there's a dot at the bottom. Priyamanaya Vakshyami S. Is it? Vakshyami Kita. Kam yaya. Right? That's right. Sri Bhagavan Vacham. Bhuya eva mahabaho. Shrinnu me paramang vachaha. Yattehang priyamanaya. Vakshyami hitakam yaya. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Bhuya eva mahabaho. Shrinnu me paramang vachaha. Yattehang priyamanaya. Vakshyami hitakam yaya. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Bhuya eva mahabaho. Shrinnu me paramang vachaha. Yattehang priyamanaya. Vakshyami hitakam yaya. Okay, let's try. Come on. Arsi Mataji, Saras Mataji, Logiswari, Nanda Mataji, Saras, Sachaini Mataji, Dineshwaran, Vaishnava Kripa Prabhu. Come on, start.
Krishna Prabhu.
Sri Krishna.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha Bhuya eva mahabaho Shrinu me paramang vachaha Yattehang priyamanaya Vakshyami hitakam yaya.
Very good. Very nice. But only here. Priyamanaya. Priyamana, not Priya. Priyamanaya. Avladhan.
Priyamanaya.
Yes.
Okay.
Very nice. Very nice. Next. Vaishnava Prabhu. Vaishnava Kripa Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Sri Bhagavan Vacha Bhuya eva mahabaho Shunu me paramam vachaha Yatte aham priyamanaya Vakshyami hira kamyaya.
Very nice, Prabhu. Very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Sri Bhagavan Vacha Bhuya eva mahabaho Shrinu me paramam vacha Yatteham priyamanaya Vakshami hitakam yaya.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, next. Who will be the next one? The lucky one? Okay, Amuda Mataji.
Sri
yes.
Bhagavan Vacha Bhuva Iva Bahu Srunu Me Paramam Vachaya Yatiham Priyamanaya Vakshami Ita Kamyaya.
Very nice. Okay, but there's some pronunciation, but happy to see you after so long. Welcome.
Thanks.
Yes, nice. Who will be the next? Anyone else?
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Sri Bhagavan Vacha Bhuya eva mahabaho Shrunu me paramam vachaha Yatte yam priyamanaya Vakshyami hitakamyaya.
Very nice. Okay. All right. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Bhuya eva mahabaho Shunnu me paramang vachaha Yattehang priyamanaya Vakshyami hitakamyaya. Okay. Sri Bhagavan Vacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Bhuyaha, again, eva, certainly, Mahabaho, O mighty armed, Trunnu, just here, me, my, paramam, supreme, vachaha, instruction, yat, that which, te, to you, aham, I, priyamanaya, thinking you dear to me. Okay, priyamanavan, right? In Tamil we call priyamanavan. So thinking of you dear to me, vakshyami, say, hita kamyaya, for your benefit. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, what did he say? Listen again. All right. That means after he finished his chapter, after he finished that Man Mana Bhamad Bhakto, all right, now he's coming to this. That means he's becoming very serious in his instruction. All right. He said, listen again. That means this is authoritarian. All right. Because Arjuna have already surrendered to Krishna as a disciple. So that's how Guru says, Guru speaks. So he said, listen again, O mighty armed Arjuna, because you are my dear friend. So that is the qualification to understand Vedas. The qualification to understand the Vedic literature, especially Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and Chaitanya Charitamrita, the qualification, we have to be friend to Krishna. There is many ras, there's many kind of reciprocal relationship with Krishna, right? But here Arjuna is not only his disciple, you have surrendered to him, but he is also his cousin and also his dear friend, right? So what he says, because you are my dear friend, for your benefit. Okay, first he said, you are my dear friend. Then after that he said, for your benefit, for your benefit. So for your benefit means when Krishna is telling Arjuna for your benefit, actually he is also addressing to every one of us. So we should make use of this opportunity. All right. So for your benefit, what Krishna says, I shall speak to you further. I shall speak to you further. That's authoritatively. He's telling, I will tell you further. All right. I shall speak to you further. What is that? Giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained. That's very exciting. So this is going to be a very exciting text. In fact, in chapter 9, I think we all had a good time. Okay, what is a good time? All right, because we start to have a lots of revelation. Okay, Krishna is giving us so much revelation. Now you do this, do that, do this. End of the day, he says, Man Mana, fully surrender to me. All right. But now he's telling, we have really enjoyed chapter 9. But now in chapter 10, it's going to be very exciting because he says he's going to give knowledge that is better. So whatever we have heard in chapter 9 is going to be better, okay, than what I have already explained. All right. So the translation again, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, listen again, O mighty armed Arjuna, because you are my dear friend, for your benefit, I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained, right? Because the envious people definitely cannot go near Krishna. Okay, the envious people. So now let's see the purport. It's a very beautiful purport. Let me get the highlighter. All right. So first of all, let's look at this word. So the word Bhagavan, okay, is explained thus by who? By Parasara Muni. All right. Parasara Muni is the one who explained. What is that word Bhagavan means? We must understand. Because there is so much of misconception is happening out there. Especially Mayavadis, all right, and the atheists, all right. They are asking why Krishna has to be established as God. Why not everyone? All right, everyone is God. Everything is God, right? That is the worst thing. That's the worst kind of speculation when they start to say everybody, even pig and dog is also God. There's some people are saying that. But there's another place they say everyone, everything is God. Every 33 million devatas, everybody is God, right? So this is something that we should clear. All right, recently also I had a what they call a conversation with one of my relations. Right? He basically became atheist. Right? He became atheist and he started talking nonsense because atheistic people are actually foolish people. Right? Why atheistic people are foolish people? Because they do not have the capability to understand and the heart to explore. Right? They just abruptly say nonsense, bogus. There's no God. The atheistic, that's why atheistic are called mudas or foolish people. All right, now let's look at this word. So the word Bhagavan is explained by Parasara Muni. So what is that Bhagavan means? That means number one who has, okay, who full in 6 opulences. All right, we must mark this word here. Okay, this is something very important. That means they must have full. That means they have not little. They must have 100% of these capacity. Full in 6 opulences. 6 what? Not 6 greatness. Opulences. Opulent is something that can never be measured. Opulent. All right. Opulent, something that can never be measured. All right. 6 in 6 opulences. Okay. What is that? Number one, who has full strength. Krishna has full strength. His strength never diminishes. He can go on doing. All right. When this Bhagavad Gita was spoken, he was 120 years old. And in fact, being 120 years old, but still he is full of strength. All right. At the same time, he also has full of fame. He has so much of fame. Okay. Full of wealth. Right. The third is full of knowledge. At the same, he is full of beauty. He's very beautiful. Right. At the same time, he's full of renunciation. Okay. He's full of renunciation. All right. Full of strength means like he carried the Govardhan hill. Full of fame. Right. Wealth. Knowledge. Beauty. At the same time, renunciation. And how we can talk about renunciation? When he became a what they call a chariot rider for Arjuna. Right? So chariot rider means that he's giving up all these things. He's very renunciate. So these full 6 things is the one who's supposed to be possessed by the Bhagavan. These are the is called Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality. The Supreme Personality. We are all personalities, but Krishna is the Supreme Personality, right? So what are the things that we can think what we have? Do we have full of strength? We only can function for 8 to 10 hours. After that, we are dead. We are dead tired, right? Then full of fame. How long fame? Right? Suddenly you see that fame, how long you can go around, people talk about. Maybe a few people in your circle. Full of wealth. How much wealth do you have? Krishna used to give millions and millions of cows and diamonds and golds in charity. Right? Sometimes when you want to give for 5 ringgit donation also, sometimes you start to think twice. Right? Okay. Knowledge. How much knowledge? Krishna has unlimited knowledge. We only have limited knowledge. Right? Beauty. Right? All of you are very beautiful. Right? Fine. But the beauty doesn't last. Right? The beauty doesn't last. As time goes on, the beauty will diminish. We have seen, right? Like all of beautiful actresses and everything. Right? And full of renunciation. Right? So renunciation. So we also cannot be. So these are the 6 opulences of the personality of Godhead. And these are the person that we should be addressed as Bhagavan. So when you start to see like some people address themselves Bhagavan, you think for yourself. You ask, all right, well, they're so-called, or this is so-called avatar, so-called guru, God, right? How he's known as Bhagavan. So when we hear someone calling someone Bhagavan, keep this as your benchmark, as your yardstick. Does he have full strength? Does he have full fame? Not ordinary, full fame. Does he have full of wealth? Does he have full knowledge? Or does he have full beauty? And is he fully renounced? All right. So these are the qualification of Bhagavan. So why Krishna was present on this earth? He displayed 6 opulences. Okay. So when Krishna was present in this earth, he also displayed all the 6 opulences. Therefore, great sages like Parasara Muni have all accepted Krishna as the Supreme Person. Who? Parasara Muni. He is one of the great authority. Right? And is a good friend of Narada Muni. Parasara Muni also called as Devarishi, he can travel. So like Narada Muni, so they all have accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And now Krishna is instructing Arjuna, okay, of more confidential knowledge. So he's instructing Krishna of more confidential knowledge of his, what confidential? Of his opulences and his work. Okay. So now he's addressing more into his opulences. That means he's going to tell, he's going to what do you call declare, he's going to like reveal. Okay. So previously, beginning with the chapter 7 or 7th chapter, the Lord has already explained his different energies. So from the chapter 7, we have read of Lord is different energies of the Lord. Okay. And how they are acting. Okay, now in this chapter, he explains his specific opulences, to Arjuna. In the previous chapter, he has already clearly explained the different energies to establish devotion in the form of infirm conviction. That's why in chapter 9, it gives you a firm conviction. Okay, explain different energies to establish his devotion in firm conviction. Again, in this chapter, he tells Arjuna about his manifestation and various opulences. All right. So far, do you have any question on this first introduction? All good?
Yes, Prabhu.
All right. All right. So now let's go to the, okay. So now at this, okay, now there's a second paragraph. In this second paragraph, what we can see, the more one hears, this is very, 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 very important. Let me mark this. All right. The more one hears about the Supreme Lord, the more one hears about the Supreme God, right? The more he becomes fixed in devotional service, right? So hearing about his glories, all right, katha or stories, kada, Krishna katha is very, very, very important. Okay, so what Prabhupada is telling you, the more one hears about the Supreme, the more you hear about Krishna, the more one becomes fixed in devotional service, right? Yes or not? You become more and more fixed in devotional service. One should always hear about the Lord in the association of the devotees, right? One should always, that means it's a must, right? Always hear about the Lord in the association of devotees. Because when we talk about, okay, what is devotees means? Devotees means the one who have fallen in love and voluntarily with happiness serving the Lord, right? So first is the prem, right? First you fall in love with God, Krishna, then you decide to serve him. These are the people of devotees, right? So when we talk about devotees, so these devotees, they got nothing else to talk other than the glories of Krishna, right? They start to talk about their testimonies, about everything. They only talk. So it's always should hear about the Lord in the association of devotee, right? Not through this drama, the Krishna drama, right? The Radha Krishna drama, not through this some Patti Mandram, Nia Nana, and all this kind of Patti Mandram, or this kind of some nonsense talk, or some random guys who speak in the YouTube, right? Or there are so many devotees or so many from others, or whatever, Sampradaya, whatever, but they are all trying to express their understanding. So there are thousands of videos about Krishna from varieties of speakers, from the haters to the devotees. Okay, so but in order to get the full effect, it's always advisable to listen or to read or to study in the association of devotees. It's very important. Why we have to do that? Because it will enhance one's devotional service, right? It enhances the devotional service. Okay, discourses in the society of the devotees can take place only among those who can really anxious to be in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so what the Prabhupada is saying, discourses in the society of devotees can take place only among those who are anxious to be Krishna conscious. That means we are trying our best to be conscious of Krishna. All right. Others cannot take part in such discourses. They will fall asleep. Sometimes after listening to all the story, they say, it's a mythology. All right, finish. All right. The Lord clearly tells Arjuna that because Arjuna is very dear to him, for his benefit, such discourses are taking place. Right. So it's very important that we should always think about reading and studying, especially this kind of literatures, in the association of devotees. All right. So there's a short what they call a purport. So again, the translation: the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Listen again, O mighty armed Arjuna, because you are my very dear friend. For your benefit, I shall speak to you further." All right, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained. Okay. Now let's look at text 2. Name viduhu suraganaha prabhavang na maharshayah aham adirhi devanam maharishinam cha sarvashah. What Krishna says, Name vidu suragana prabhavang na maharshayah aham adirhi devanam maharishinam cha sarvashah. Devanam. All right, let's mark this word. Okay. It says ya, na, never, me, my, viduhu, no, suragana, the demigods, prabhavam, origin, opulence, na, never, maha rishaya. Rishya means rishi, all right, rishya. Great sages, aham, I am, adihi, the origin, he is certainly devanam of the demigods, maha rishinam of the great sages, rishi, right? Cha also sarvasha in all respect. All right. So now we are looking at word to word translation. All right. This is nothing is concocted, but this is exactly what Krishna says. It's been translated word by word. So let's look at the translation. Neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin of opulences. For in every respect, I am the source of the demigods and the sages. So now, this is another things that they happen out there, right? The God says that everything is same, everything is equal. But now Krishna himself is saying this, right? Neither the host of the demigods, that means host of the demigods means 33 million of them, right? Devas, nor the great sages, big sages, rishis, know my origin or opulences. They don't know Krishna's origin, where he came from, what is he, and he also is opulence. They don't know. For in every respect, I am the source. So that means Krishna says he is the source of the demigods and sages, right? There was a story in Srimad Bhagavatam, okay, and also narrated in Chaitanya Charitamrita. When Brahma wanted to come and visit Krishna, okay, he tells Krishna that Krishna will be resting. So he tells his Krishna's friend, please tell Krishna that Brahma is here. So that the Krishna's friend will go and tell Krishna, Krishna, there's a guy called Brahma here. Brahma? He said, which Brahma? Then he go back and asked, which Brahma are you? And he got a shock. What do you mean, which Brahma? I am the only one Brahma. Yeah, but he asked me which Brahma? The four-headed Brahma. Then he went and told Krishna, he said, the four-headed Brahma is here. Ah, okay, ask him to come. So when he came, then first thing Krishna asked, so how are you doing, my dear Brahma? He said, before I answer you, my Lord, I would like to ask you, what do you meant by which Brahma? I thought I'm the only Brahma. Say, really? Then his meditation, he just think about all the Brahmas will appear. All the Brahmas and Rudras, Lord Shiva. Varieties of them, all right? So some Brahmas with 10 heads, 100 heads, 1,000 heads, million heads. Varieties of Brahma according to different planetary system from all bubble. Remember the bubble that I spoke? So from all universes, everybody appeared. And that's when Brahma was thinking, oh, so I am not the only Brahma. So even Lord Brahma doesn't know the opulence of Krishna. When Krishna came in the form of a boy, he couldn't recognize him. He thought, who is this coward boy? So he took everybody and hid it somewhere. That's one pastime. You can even read that in Krishna, the Supreme Personality, right? There's a book called Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? It's a summary study of the chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10. And also, Indra couldn't recognize Krishna. He sent for the rain. So Krishna, when he carried with the Sunduvaral, carried the Govardhan hill, that's when he realized, right? So these are the things. So it says that no one knows his origin or opulence, even the great sages. Okay, now let's look at this purpose. Okay. So now, as stated in Brahma Sanghita, in Brahma Sanghita. Brahma Sanghita means the one that is spoken by Lord Brahma. Okay, Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He says, Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord. No one is greater than him. And he says, he is the cause of all causes. All right, it's chapter 5, text 1. Okay, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karma is the cause of all causes. Okay, so here is also stated by Lord personally. So what in Brahma Sanghita we heard from Lord Brahma, but in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself personally is saying, right? He's stating very clearly to this thing personally that he is the cause of all the demigods and the sages. He's the one that caused them for their appearance and everything. Even the demigods and the great sages cannot understand Krishna. They cannot even understand Krishna. They can understand what? Neither his name nor his personality. Right? They cannot understand him. So what is that position of so-called scholars? Right? So what is the, so, so what is the position of the so-called scholars in this tiny planet? So when we talk about great sages, right, the father of this universe, right, the engineer, Lord Brahma, okay, the Lord Shiva, then we talk about Indra. All these great sages and devatas cannot understand his opinions. So what Prabhupada is saying, what is the position? How about the so-called scholars, the so-called fellows who think they are so clever, they are so intelligent, scholars of this tiny planet? This planet is so tiny, right? Right? If you take a plane, you'll understand. You can't see anything. You can't even see the buildings when you're flying 30 feet high, right? Then you come down, maybe you go to the skyscraper, maybe you can see the building around you, right? And you can see the cars, but you cannot see human being. Then you come to what? 20 feet. Maybe you can see the car, but you see the human being look like ants, running around. You can see some ants. Then once you come down to the first floor, that's where you can see the men face to face. That's where you come to that level. So imagine. So even so once you go to the moon, you see the planet, you can't see anything. So we are living in this tiny planet, in that tiny planet, in a tiny country, in a tiny town, a city, in that tiny city, in a tiny garden, in that tiny garden, in a tiny house. So in that tiny house, we are tiny, living in that place. So we are more like a germs or bacteria, right? Maybe the aliens, when they come, they have to see us in a microscope. We are that small. So we are being so tiny and so small, right? And we are and we are trying to manipulate this nature, right? At the same time, all these kind of scholars, so-called scholars, educated people, start to give comments, start to criticize all this kind of nonsense happening, right? So now, no one can understand why the Supreme Lord comes to this earth. So no one can understand why this Supreme Person come to earth. Why did he come to earth, right? As an ordinary human being. Okay, why he came as ordinary human being, no one can understand, right? And execute such wonderful, uncommon activities, right? Wonderful, but at the same time uncommon. Okay, when he was a tiny baby, he was tied to the rope. He was with a mortar. He was pulling the mortar, right? Then after that, the two trees fell. And then after that, he could able to pull the mortar as a baby, right? As a crawling child. At the same time, when he was a child, Putana smeared poison on a nipple and tried to give milk to Krishna, tried to kill. And Putana is as strong as 60,000 elephants. She's such a strong, powerful Rakshasi, right? But the tiny hand of Krishna hold the breast, and the tiny mouth sucks the nipple, sucks the air out. All right. At the same time, when he was a young boy, around 6-7 years old, he carried the Govardhan. Govardhan only is a small, tiny, pinky finger. Right. So like that, he have done so many things wonderful. At the same time, uncommon, which cannot be perceived. Right. So one should know then that scholarship is not a qualification. Scholarship is not a qualification. Being a very highly educated and all this is not a qualification necessary to understand Krishna. It's not a qualification, right? So even the demigods and the great sages have tried to understand Krishna by their mental speculation, and they have failed to do so. So in Srimad Bhagavatam also it's clearly said that even the great demigods are not able to understand the Supreme Personality of God. Okay, they can speculate to the limits of their imperfect senses and can reach the opposite conclusion of impersonalism, of something not manifest in the three qualities of material nature. Or they can imagine something by mental speculation, but it's not possible to understand Krishna by such foolish speculation. Right? So this is referring to the Mayavadis, or the so-called scholars out there. Right? So so-called scholars. It's very not easy for them to understand. Right? Okay. Now let's go to the next thing. Okay. Here the Lord, second paragraph. Here the Lord indirectly says, okay, he says indirectly that if anyone wants to know the absolute truth, right? If anyone wants to know the absolute truth, here I am present as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am the Supreme. Right? So if anyone wants to know the absolute truth, so what Krishna says here, I am present as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am the Supreme. After that, he said, one should know this, although one cannot understand the inconceivable Lord who is personally present, he nonetheless exists. Okay, we can actually understand Krishna. So what Prabhupada said, we can actually understand Krishna, who is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge, simply by studying his words in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavad. Okay, so we can understand Krishna, who is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge, Sachidananda Vigraha. How? Simply. Simply means what? Easily. Doesn't take much effort, right? And you can much effort, okay? By studying his words in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam is the important literatures that we should always make it as a habit. We should study Bhagavad Gita daily without fail. At least a verse and a translation, at least one. All right, minimum. It must be a daily practice, right? At the same time, also, we should go on reading Srimad Bhagavatam daily. So Srimad Bhagavatam should be read in the morning, and Bhagavad Gita should be read in the evening. Like last time they say, oh, I cannot carry the book to my office, what can I do? Now, but now with all these gadgets, right, with the phone, everything, right? You just can go and click database, and you can just read through, right? You just need to click database. You're going to get the screen. You just read and appreciate and contemplate of what you have studied. So it must be. So you must be. So it's a very simple process. Okay. The conception of God as some ruling power or some impersonal Brahman can be reached by a person who are inferior energy of the Lord. But the personality of Godhead cannot be conceived unless one is a transcendental position. Okay, now let's look at this. Okay, what Krishna is saying here, Prabhupada saying, the conception of God as some ruling power or as impersonal Brahman. Okay, that means Krishna is as a king of Dwaraka, some ruling power or impersonal Brahman. That means the God has no form, God is light, can be reached by person who are in the inferior energy of the Lord. Okay, who are inferior energy of the Lord. Okay, which is out of that energy, right? Or in other words, anyone, any Tom, Dick, and Harry can get that concept of God who is some kind of ruler or impersonal. That means going into the light, which anybody can do it. Doesn't take much effort. All right. So these are the people, even though they can be on the inferior part of the Lord's energy. But the personality of Godhead cannot be conceived unless one is in a transcendental position. So that means the personality cannot be conceived, cannot be understood. All right, unless one who is in the transcendental position. If the person is not in transcendental position, he can never ever understand the Lord. Okay. So, and the translation position is what we say. We have to read and study in the association of a devotee. Okay. Now let's move on. Because most men cannot understand Krishna in his actual situation. Mostly people cannot understand Krishna in his actual situation, right? But out of his causeless mercy, all right? Out of his causeless mercy. What is causeless mercy? That means the mercy which is just simply, that means there's no cause, right? There's no cause. That means he's simply like out of his own will, okay? He descends to what? To show favor to such speculators, right? It shows favor to such speculators. Okay. So that means most men cannot understand Krishna is in an actual situation. But out of his causeless mercy, he simply come down. Descend means coming down. All right. To show the favor to such speculators. Yet, despite the Supreme Lord's uncommon activities, these speculators, due to what? Why they are speculating? Due to contamination, okay, in the material energy, all right? Contamination in the material energy, still think that impersonal Brahma is the Supreme, right? they still think the impersonal Brahman is the supreme. Right. So now let's look at this word here. So these speculators who are contaminated by material energy. Okay. See, the contamination of this material energy is everything is a matter. Right. The contamination. See, for instance, we see that everything around us. Okay, say like for instance, I got a friend who bought a Mercedes Benz around 5 years ago. Right. When he bought that car, he felt it was so fantastic. Then he got that car and he took care of the car nicely as though he's going to stay with the car forever. But after 5 years, he decided to sell off the car. So what I'm trying to tell you here is anything that you have, just look around you. Just look around your house. It's not going to be permanently with you forever. A day will come, maybe on your left, the cupboard may wear off. You're going to throw the cupboard and get a new cupboard. All right. The light is going to wear off. You're going to change the bulb. Right. Maybe the computer that you're looking at it's going to get spoiled one day. You're going to throw it away. You're going to get a new computer. So like that, everything that matter is impermanent. It's a non-permanent. It's temporary. All right. It is temporary. So you cannot see permanent thing in this material universe, material world. Okay, we don't talk about universe. Talk about this place. Right. There is Ipoh is surrounded by hills. Everybody says Ipoh is a very beautiful place to retire. Everything is all hills. But those who are coming from highway, as you come near Ipoh, you see such a beautiful mountain now has been destroyed for quarry, destroyed by the quarry operators for cement. Even the mighty mountain can never be permanent. It got destroyed. It's got breakdown. Right? After that, they use that. It takes the mountain, the cement, and they build a house. And after that, they say, oh, you build the house in the wrong place. Then the DBI or the Dewan Bandaraya will come and demolish the house. And they throw all the debris into a hole or somewhere. They dispose the debris somewhere. So imagine how much effort does it take for the mounds, for the dirt to combine, to be compacted, and to be compact over again. It created a big mountain. But out of this some stupidity and some wrong planning, they destroy the mountain, turn into cement, they build something, and then they say, oh, it's wrong, or the building is not right, or buy a new building. Okay, I'm going to break everything, I'm going to do renovation. All that effort that created, everything is gone, wasted. Right? Just like sometimes, they kill a chicken to eat. Okay. So the mother-in-law kills the chicken and prepare the meat and tell the daughter-in-law to cook. But the daughter-in-law doesn't know how to cook. Suddenly she put extra salt. When they put, what extra salt? Nonsense. Throw this away and prepare something else. So they take that plate, the chicken, and simply throw in the dustbin and cook something else. How much a waste, right? The chicken, okay, if there's some hormonal changes in the body of a hen, it produced the egg and it lays the egg. And from the egg, right? From the egg, it takes so much of effort from some combination, some what they call some changes and everything. It somehow or other turn into a chick and break open the shell and come out. After it comes out, it leaves. Okay, it has so much of from the ant, from all these kind of other living creatures who are torturing, and somehow or other is like protecting itself. It took so much of effort for the chicken to grow from the chick from the chick to become a grown chicken. But just because of some 6 inches tongue, the last of the tongue, they kill the chicken. And at the end of the day, the lady, the mother-in-law gave the daughter-in-law to cook, and the daughter-in-law, make mistake in that food. They simply throw the thing away. Wasted. So, like that. So, this is the contamination. The contamination means the inability of a man to think, all right, to think logically. Sometimes I used to talk to these logicians, right? The so-called logicians. They think they are so intelligent, right? But the thing is, it's wasted. So when you talk about logician, say, what is it logic? The logic, that means the matter that we derive. Okay, for instance, right? We gain knowledge according to our environment. All right, we gain knowledge according to our environment. Our environment is so polluted. And what type of knowledge you're going to accumulate is all polluted knowledge, which is unnecessary. Okay. So that's why it says the material energy is a contaminated energy. All right. In other words, this material nature is just like a shadow. It's a shadow of the real place. Krishna has 3 types of energy: internal, external, marginal. Internal is spiritual energy, Hladini Shakti. External is a shadow of internal energy. And marginal, we are in human being, we are stuck in between the spirit and the matter. We are marginal. So we are stuck in the between, right? And we are struggling left and right, right? All our senses, everything, our body, our hair, our body, our mind, our intelligence, everything is made of material nature. Material thing. And inside is infused with spiritual thing, right? How can we be happy, right? Say, like, for instance, okay, like example, all right? Okay, let me see. All right. Okay, I just give you one scenario, right? A Cessna flight, a small plane for flying. And who's flying in that plane? Some rich people, rich family, right? They are multi-millionaires, the richest man in the world, like Tata, Birla, whatever it is. They are flying in that plane. And while they are flying somewhere, suddenly the plane had problem. It crashed. It crashed into the wilderness, jungle, right? But their good fortune, nothing happened to them. They survived. But the place they fell is a place where the Aborigines or Amazon Aborigines, the Aborigines that stay who are in the jungle, the Aborigines settlement. So they fell there. So the Aborigines, they start to see people who look different, right? They bring them and they give them all opulent. Oh, you are Umba. Oh, you are something. Oh, they are talking in their language. Why you are so beautiful? Why you look so nice? What dress you're wearing? Because they don't simply wear dress. Aborigines in the deep jungle like Amazon, they don't wear anything, right? Oh, so they're so surprised. They say, okay, I'll give you the best. So what happened? The king of that village will give the palace. So what is the palace of the Aborigine? Is made of what? Made of some they call some leaves and sticks and everything, right? They go and hunt and they bring all that meat from that hunting inside the jungle, and whatever they cook, there's no spice, no sugar, no nothing. So even though these people who are rich family, they are given all opulence in that Aboriginal village. Do you think they can be happy? They're given everything according to their capability, according to jungle wala. How much they can give you? They give you. But as a person or from so-called town with the so opulent place, you are stuck in the jungle. Will you be happy? Similarly, the soul, which is full of spirit, which has all the spiritual energy of Krishna. All right? Right? So it's full of spirit, spiritual. And these spiritual are put in a cage made of material energy. All right? So that cage, so that means who went into the cage? You went into the cage because you are the spirit soul. You got into the cage of matter, right? And the cage, everything is made of matter. The hand, leg, everything is made of matter. Okay, and the system that runs like a hydraulic, that oil system, okay, that keeps you running, blood, it's all inside, right? It's all in there. And it's they call kingdom of 9 holes. All right, kingdom of 9 holes. Okay, every human got 9 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 6, 7. Okay, anus and genitals. So total we have 9 holes in the body. All right. Sorry, the kingdom of 9. What they call it? A kingdom of 9 gates. Oh, sorry, not holes, gates. They call gates, right? So kingdom of 9 gates. So we are living in this kind of situation. So how can we be happy? It is not possible because we are faking, right? But another thing happened. We are in the covering, right? We are hallucinating. Example, the same family who have got stuck in the jungle. Suddenly, they bring some kind of drugs. All right, they bring some kind of kaskas or some kind of aboriginal drugs, and they give the drug to the to the family. And they take the drug, they feel so high. In that high, you know what they happen? They forget their original position. And they start to enjoy, sing and dance among the Aborigines. All right? They can accept the situation that they became part of that Aborigines. All right? They come to the level of accepting the fact because they are hallucinating. So similarly, when we are here, when we have real knowledge, when our knowledge is revived, when we look around, we can never accept this place. But the Maya Devi, Durga, she comes and puts us in hallucination to make us think that things that in front of us is reality. It looks surreal. It looks real, right? My body looks so real. My feeling looks so real. My children look so real. My family members, my mother, my sister, everything looks so real. The car that I drive looks so real. The house I live looks so real. So everything looks so real that we forget this thing, and we are in that hallucination mode. We are hallucinating. Okay. At the same time, we also go through so much of trauma, right? Not this trauma alone, but we go through many, many traumas in life after life. We have somehow or other passed through 8,400,000 species. All right, there are 8,400 types of species of living entities. Out of those 400,000 are human beings. 2 million species are the animals. All right, mammals. All right, there's aquatics. So like that, we have passed through all. And we passed through all means we have experienced dying in all different species of life. Right? Once we were cooked alive. You know, sometimes when you're stuck when you become a fish and live in China, finish, they'll take you and fry you alive. If you're a lobster, finish. All right, they boil you alive. So we died being cooked alive. We were killed as a slaughter animal. We have experienced dying as a slaughter animal. We were trampled as an ant. When we died being trampled, crushed to death, right? And like that. So then when you see that, when you look at this human being, all right, human being, what type of death? We have experienced dying electrocuted. We have experienced dying suicidal. We have experienced dying, what they call, capital punishment, like get slaughtered, head get cut off, right? We have experienced all this kind of death, at least 8.4 million varieties. Like that, we have passed through so many rounds like that. And not only that, after we go through this kind of situation, then we go to hell. In hell, we have Ruru, Raurava, Maharaurava, Kumbipaka. So we get boiled, we get fried. The animal that we rear and kill, that animal will come and fight our body parts away, right? Like that. And we have performed illicit sex. All right, there'll be a red or hot iron form of a lady you are forced to hug, and everything get burnt. If you consume alcohol, all right, they take the hot what do you call, copper, boiling copper, right, and they pour into the throat. So like that, we have gone through all this kind of suffering. But because of this kind of severe suffering and all this, we are traumatized. We forget our real identity. Sometimes when we have some blow, right? Sometimes we shock. Sometimes we have to go through some kind of trauma. All right. So, but people will start to forget, who am I? They become like blur. They call mental illness nowadays, right? Due to some stroke, trauma, people forget everything. Like a hard blow on your head, or something very shocking news, or some kind of severe suffering, especially when you see the World War II veteran, when they come back after the war, they all look like gone crazy, especially Vietnam War, and all those who are suffered in that chamber, right? The Nazi chamber, right? Concentration camp. So after they come back, so like that we have forgotten. So once we forget, at the same time, we are covered by Maya, which is hallucinating. We start to forget our constitutional position. But because of some mercy from a Vaishnava, from a devotee, who knows, in your previous birth, maybe you have taken, and whatever birth they have taken, maybe you heard some Maha Mantra, there's some Sankirtan Pati, or maybe you have taken some a little what do you call prashadam. There was something, there was a reason that again you born as a human being and now you get connected to that absolute truth, Parampurul. Right? So when we get into this thing, so once we get into, okay, first we are start to be convinced, okay, that's I'm someone here and I feel like something and everything. But now as time goes on, what happened? Okay, now we have forgotten ourselves. We have forgotten who am I. I'm forgotten. I shouldn't say you. I'm reminding myself actually. I've forgotten myself. Right? I think that I'm good. Like the day I told you about the story that I choked with that chickpea skin. The chickpea skin went into a wrong track. Suddenly I started to choke. Right? All my family, my wife and all my children, all my mother, everybody was sitting in front of her chatting. All right, they were chatting. But at the back, I'm choking. I couldn't breathe out. I couldn't breathe in. Because the chickpea, which is so subtle, which is so small skin, got into my wrong track. Right? I'm looking at them. Should I go to them? Or should I like try to save myself? What should I do now? So should I'll try to drink water, cannot, because it's so tiny. It went and stuck somewhere, cannot, the water is not taking it out. Right? Then suddenly I remembered, all right, I just take some raw rice. I just put the raw rice inside, swallow. Right? It just, okay, swallow a few raw rice and some other day got cleared. Then after that, I came into it, I was coughing very badly until I was like, was not feeling well sometime. Okay. So what happened? At that particular moment, you know what I really thought? I was thinking to breathe. I never thought of Krishna. That was very scary. That was extremely scary. And that was something like, it's awakening my thought. You've been chanting, you're reading Bhagavad Gita, you're preaching, you're making devotees, you're cultivating, you are giving suggestions, you are counseling, right? You're doing so many things around you. But at that moment of time, when the practical moment comes, I couldn't think of Krishna. Despite having so many death experience. Now you'll be wondering why I'm talking about death just now. So I have gone through 8.4 million varieties of death. But despite have so much of experience dying, but even at this particular moment when the thing get choked up, I couldn't remember Krishna. Very scary. Very scary. So what happened? Because then somehow or other, then I start to realize, oh, okay, then what should I do now? Right? So what's next? So am I really practicing? Am I really utilizing? So then again, start to reflect back. RDC formula, read, distribute, and chant. Right? Because even Lord Shiva guarantees you, he'll come and sings the Maha Mantra in your ears and somehow or other bring you back home, back to God. Lord Shiva guarantees you that. So we have no worries. But of course, theoretically we speak, but at that moment, I had a very good experience, right? A near-death experience, which I couldn't remember Krishna. Why? Because it's contamination. The whole place is contaminated and it's hallucinating, right? We accept this contamination as pleasurable. We accept this contamination as something which is real, right? Because it's hallucinating. So for that reason, sometimes Krishna, he comes down to make us realize. Whenever he comes down, he comes not only, first he comes, he performs his Leela. And after that, he gives this instruction. When Narasimha Dev came, there's a Narasingha Purana, right? Then there's like that, we have all the Puranas for all the avatars, right? Then Krishna came, he gave Bhagavad Gita, right? And Krishna came in the form of Sakyavesh Avatar Vyasadev. He compiled all the 4 Vedas. After he gives summary, we call Brahma Sutra. And after that, he's another expanded incarnation, or his Sakyavesh Avatar, Narada Muni. He came and instructed Vyasadev. Slowly, because Vyasadev was not happy, he feels something is not right. He said, how can it be? You're talking about so much of happiness in this material. You're teaching the art of being happy. You know, when a great man do, common men follow. One day they're going to quote to you, oh, Vyasadev have wrote this, that this is how the way of life. Right? What a blunder that you have done. He chastised. We studied that in Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? The conversation between Narada and Vyasadev. Then after that, what happened? Then Narada Muni says, now I want you to write the actual aim of the Vedas. So, of course, he gave a summary of the 4 Vedas in Brahma Sutra, which is vast. And after that, he gave further summary from that summary. What is the actual aim of these studies? Right? Sometimes when you read book, okay, what you supposed to learn, your target. Okay, now I'm doing my SPM for what? Because I need to strike straight A's. For what? So I can get a good college. For what? So I get a good college. I get a good subject that I want to study. For what? So that I can get a good job. For what? So I can have a lot of money. And already money. Right? So that's the ultimate. So that means there's a goal. So similarly, what is that goal? So Krishna study, Vyasa study says, this is the thing. So when we are in this mode and everything, after we have a very shocking trauma that we've forgotten everything, and by the mercy of some Vaishnava devotees, right, who are inspired by another devotee, right, who are inspired after listening to hearing all this beautiful pastime of Krishna, right, he descends, right, he descends to show all the. So after they are inspired, right, so somehow or other they start to practice and see. Sometimes when you take prasadam, you throw prasadam, living entities and this. See, I'm talking to you. There's one fly is flying around. The fly will benefit because we are speaking on Bhagavad Gita, right? So, so like that, somehow or other by that mercy, we have taken this form, and immediately in this life, like some started late, some started very early. Doesn't matter. You have started. That's most important. All right, you have started somehow or other you have started. So now what you should do now? So now we are trying to understand. So the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita is trying to tell you your original self, which you have forgotten out of millions of billions of birth of trauma. Right? Out of the severe shock that you have forgotten everything. At the same time, you start to accept this contamination as something very nice. Right? Just like sometimes when you see, I've got an uncle who last time stayed in a slum. In Ipoh, there's a place called Telokurin, right, near Kacang Putih area. My uncle stayed in that Rumah Haram. I said, why do you stay here? Because he said, oh, the government is going to give land so we can build a big house. So when he was staying there, I remember going there. Such a slum, terrible, kampung. All the things, some green things will be running, the water will be running around, and so filthy. Right? So after that day, my uncle and I went somewhere. So we went to that same kind of environment that he lived before. When he went there, he could say, oh, I said, hey, there's a well. Come, I want to take out the water because I enjoy taking water from the well. He went there, he said, oh, filthy, so dirty, don't touch. Oh. I said, uncle, you lived there before. Yeah, but no. So that means, in other words, from that slum, he came to that town, he evolved. So similarly, we are living in the slum. So suddenly, when by the mercy of this, we start to understand our real self. When we start to understand our real constitutional position as the servant of Krishna. So how are we going to learn that? From the Vedas. All right. The Vedas tell you, do you know that you are the soul, you're not the body? Oh, really? I didn't know that. For the past 8.4 million lifetime, I didn't know that. But now you know not? Yes. Atato Brahma Ajiknasaha. I am not this body, but I'm a spirit soul. Number one. Okay, then do you know that your soul is connected to Krishna? Right? How? Because Krishna is the vast ocean and you're a tiny drop of the water from the ocean. Is there any difference? Well, both are salty. There's no difference. Yes. But of course, it's big and you're small. The quantity is different. Oh, really? The fire and the spark both are fire. Right? The spark you can touch, but the fire you cannot touch. But both have the fiery this thing. Okay. Then tell me some more. Then, and do you know that you are Sachidananda Vigraha? That means what? You are eternal, full of knowledge, and with beautiful Vigraha body. That you left in that place that you came from. Where's that place? Kolokarandavan. Oh, really? Right? Where? That's the place Krishna lives. Oh. Then who's Krishna? Krishna is the original father, is the supreme personality. All right? Okay. Even Brahma says that, Brahma? Yeah, he says in chapter 5, text 1. Ishvara Parama Krishna. Ishvara means controller. Parama means supreme. Supreme controller is Krishna. Sachidananda Vigraha. He got a body of eternal, beautiful, and full of knowledge. Anadi Radhi Gonda. Sarva Karana Karana is the cause of all causes. Oh, that means I know I am Sachidananda, but of course in a very tiny, minute thing. Right? So that means Krishna wants us back. Okay, what is the proof Krishna wants you back? That's what Bhagavad Gita is speaking. Oh, in Bhagavad Gita, it's not a story. Krishna giving instruction. You can come back to me and stay with me forever to your original position. Then we study Bhagavad Gita. Oh, then we start to realize ourselves. Oh my God, am I this? Am I that? But Krishna also says, but at the same time, if you want to do this, you have to throw all the rubbish out of your mind. In chapter 5 text, in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first verse, second verse, Dharma projita kaitava. Dharma projita kaitava. Dharma, that means any religious act or any act which is materially motivated. Kaitava dharma. That means it's a cheating process. Kaitava means cheating. Why cheating? Because you as a person in spirituality, you have to think about going back home, back to Godhead. Not to amaze big mass wealth. Not to show that you are very wealthy. Okay, I do this parigara, so I'm going to get, okay, I do Lakshmi Kubera parigara. So I want Kuberan to come and sit in my house. And until they keep the big fat Kuberan, like the Chinese laughing Buddha. And they say every day you're going to tickle the stomach, kichi, 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 the money will drop. God knows from where they got the idea. Right? All these are kaitava dharma, cheating religion. So the religion means is to connect us back to Krishna and teach us way that we go back home, back to Godhead. That means it's awakening from our slumber. We are sleeping. We are sleeping in denial, in ignorance. So these kind of things will just awaken you. So when you are awakened, when you're going towards that, when you look around, this and that, put that thing away. Right? Because eventually you're going to throw all, it's not going to be yours forever. Right? My grandfather, okay, I think I've said this before, but I like to share it again. My grandfather is extremely a materialistic person. Right? He from Madurai and he came to Malaysia. And when he died, he was a multi-millionaire. Right? He called a big company, founded in 1946, V. Palani Chettiar and Company, big, huge company. Every day he wakes up, he takes the money. He always keeps the money beside his bed. He wakes up, he stare at the money. Wow, kasu, pano, duttu. Then only he go to sleep. Panatthala kanna mulikkirathu. And before you go to bed, he will take the money that beside him, kalapati irukkom, the kalapati, he take the money, he will just stare at the money. Wow, so much of money, beautiful, smell, so nice, and he put there and he go to bed. But eventually, not a single penny that he can take with him when he died. Then what happened? Of course, with some issues and everything is gone. The whole the empire, business empire of my uncle, they destroyed it. So what I'm trying to tell you is, so if you want to go towards the path to Krishna, Krishna says, all right, you have to look at this. But now the question I have, oh dear Krishna, yes, you're saying I am the spirit soul, but I'm entrapped in this cage. The cage is made of nine doors. Right? The cage, the body with 9 holes, nine doors. Right? How am I? While living in this body, how can I appreciate you? And not only that, now I realize, I thought this is the only body that I have, but I realize I got 3 subtle things with me. That is mind, intelligence, and ego, which is subtle, can't be seen. Right? Which I cannot see. And these 3 subtle things that cannot be seen is the one controlling my entire function of my body. My whole body is functioned by them. Just like having a solar car, solar energy. You don't see the source of the energy. At least you see like electricity comes from the dam, from the hydro dam. From there it comes to the place and catchment, and from there they distribute everything. But the solar, if you have a solar car or solar light, you can't see anything. You don't know from where the light comes. But you know there's a heat, there's a sun there, there's a heat there, and the sun and shoots to that solar panel, and it turns into and saves in the battery. And when you use it, it just gives you electricity. So that thing that cannot be seen is controlling the whole electrical appliance or whatever, car, whatever. Similarly, the thing that cannot be seen is controlling my whole system, my thinking power, my reasoning power. right? My hallucinating power, my ignorance, my happiness, my distress, something that cannot be seen is controlling me. So Krishna, how am I? So then how? You see, okay, I realize myself, okay, now. So what is this? Never mind. If you, in order to do that, you have to pacify it. You can never control it. All right? How to kill a wild animal? Right? Sometimes when you see that people, the way that they slaughter animals and everything, of course, I'm giving a very wrong example, but just for the sake of discussion. When you see whatever horse they go to, the horse will be jumping up and down, up and down, up and down. What they do? The more you strangle the horse, the more it will jump. Pacify the horse first. Pacify. And the horse gets pacified, shoop, one cut, head gone. Similarly, your mind is so agitated. Your mind is so strong, so powerful, you can never simply control it. So how to do it? Pacify it first. And what is the process of pacifying? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When you're connecting the most powerful spiritual energy into this mundane, the material mind, the mind can easily pacify. All right, the mind gets pacified. And in order for you to understand your mind getting pacified, you need to have knowledge, your intelligence. So you need to read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Oh, okay, now I know my mind is getting pacified. So when the intelligence is purified, mind is purified, naturally our ego, our identification will get purified. And what is that identification? I think I do not need this kind of opulence. Someone come and tell you, oh, there's one MLM company is coming, you can be a millionaire. I said, I'm not interested. And the funny thing, the person who came and talked to me, 70-year-old guy, I was thinking, what is he trying to achieve in his life? At the age of 70, he's thinking about building a business and he want to be a millionaire, he want to drive a Lamborghini. Sir, Rolls Royce. Look at that hallucination at that advanced age. Right? So once we start to get, when they come and say, no, I'm not interested. But in my time, I'm thinking, look at this old man, ripe age old man, is thinking about making a fortune. So that means we start to understand things. We start to relate things. Right? So with that, okay, then the mind is subtle. So when all these subtle things control, my whole body is controlled. So once pacify, then you conquer it. And conquer it by what? By determination. And where the determination comes from? From knowledge. And where the determination knowledge comes from? From Krishna. Because that's what Krishna says. I will bring the torch and remove the darkness born of ignorance. So all the things cleared. And that's why it's like, okay. Then you start to go into some confidential topic about Krishna. Right? Now Bhagavad Gita done. Bhagavatam. Okay, Bhagavad Gita says surrender to me. Okay, now I surrender to you, Krishna. What is the process of surrender? Just simply say surrender. Oh, I surrender to you. No. It's just like how when a two party is in war, when one party losing, they surrender to the winning party. How they surrender? They raise the hand up, drop the weapon, raise the hand, and the fellow will come and pull all your insignia. No, you have big title captain. They take your cap away, right? They take your shirt, they strip you, just like how the Japanese, all they'll be under the kopin, komalata put, like the loincloth, and they take you and they put you in the prison. And they, of course, there's a mundane story, but here Krishna says, give up. Dharma projita kaitava. Get rid of all cheating religious process, which is materially motivated. Get rid of them. Don't even keep a small dot of it. Then by that, we start to realize we surrender to Krishna. And from there we come. That's when we start to identify that you are living in a very contaminated place. அப்பதான் கண்ணே திறக்கும். இந்த கன்றாவியான இடத்துல நான் வாழ்ந்துகிட்டு இருக்கேன். என்ன மக்களுங்களுக்கு கருணையே இல்லையா? Oh my God, how they can do that? Oh, how they can kill the chicken? Chicken. I thought kitchen, chicken. When you go to the market, when you hear the chicken screaming, now you hear the fly, the pain. But once upon a time, when you used to go and buy the chicken, you don't feel it. You're just thinking, okay, I'm going to do rendang, I'm going to fry chicken or something like that. But when your mind is purified, that's when you start to hear things. You Krishna, top of the voice, help, to finish. Right? So we see, oh, then we start to see. So the contamination, that's why Krishna descends to create that kind of awareness that you will be very excited, all right, in chanting, in this, because we are dynamic practice. We are not a slumber practice. We are not simply sit in one corner and simply meditate. We don't isolate ourselves. We are dynamic. So now Krishna is saying, so now what should I do? So that's when the spiritual master will come in. The spiritual master is considered our seniors. The seniors advising the junior. Because they have seen the truth. That's what Krishna says. Look for a devotee. They can guide you because they have seen the truth. In Bhagavad Gita is mentioned. Okay, the seer of the truth can teach you because they have seen the truth. If you not going to follow them, you're going to take a big process. All right, you're going to beat around the bush. You're going to study something which is not important. But the spiritual master can tell you directly, now you do this. Right? He said, okay, now I take you, bring you back, be my member in my team. So I'll initiate you. So once we accept our initiation, we are connected to what they call Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya. So in that Sampradaya, it's not only your spiritual master going to act with you. All the previous spiritual master, like, okay, your spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami, then Gaura Kishordas Babaji. And above Gaura Kishordas Babaji is, what they call? Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Jagannatha Das Babaji. And after 1, 2, up there is Narottam Das Thakur. Then after 1, 2, you can see 6 Goswamis. And after that, you see that Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya's guru is what? Sandipani Muni. All right. No, that's Krishna's. Okay. He's guru. He's guru. Until Krishna. Then you come to the Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya up to Narada. Narada, Brahma, up to Krishna. The whole parampara is there. To pour their causeless mercy is just like opening the dam. Right? They open the dam and the water of it's a gush of mercy. When the dam is open, the water rush as a mercy. Before you could think, you get washed away and you get drowned in this transcendental happiness. By the time you awaken, you see that you're actually in Goloka Vrindavan, the actual place that you fell from. And what the Guru will tell you, now understand, you are living in a contaminated body. We don't talk about environment out there, even our body. Right? After you sleep, you wake up, even how expensive toothpaste you use or mouthwash you use. At night, you sleep, the next day morning, your mouth will stink. Even how expensive soap that you use. Now they got soap made of honey. And they got the worst thing is now I heard there's a soap made of ghee. See, people are wasting the resources. Ghee soap or something like that, nonsense. So you can use what kind of soap? Even you can get soaked in a most expensive fragrant. After some time, the body will start to stink. Right? Even how opulent food that you eat, once we go to toilet, the motion, the stool is smelly. Right? It doesn't say that you eat this one, the stool. No, smelly. So everything that goes into the body and comes out is smelly. So we are living in a contaminated body. We don't have a choice. So what Guru says, never mind. Now let's see. Now first thing, the Guru will sit and talk to you. Let's look what is your talent you have. What is your talent you have now? Oh, I got a talent for this. Can you use your talent just to serve Krishna first for now? Right? So the example, okay, I got a talent of cooking. Okay, why not you just come and start to cook for Krishna first? We start from there. Then you start to cook for Krishna, you offer to Krishna, you're very happy, then everything, okay, now you're okay. You're very happy with it. Now Krishna, Guru will tell you, okay, now your next step. Can you go out and distribute Bhagavad Gita? Because that is what wanted in our parampara. Of course, you're doing a good job. Can you try? Yes, definitely. Why not? But before that, if you cannot distribute books, say if you don't have that mood of meeting people, suddenly I drop a bomb and tell, now you take the book and go and sell. Finish. You'll run away. So the Guru will tell you step by step what to do. Why? Why the Guru knows you well? Because the Guru is actually Chaitya Guru. The Chaitya Guru means the Guru in your heart, Chaitya Guru, will manifest in front of you as a Diksha Guru. And in these two, what they call situation, there's in middle, there's hundreds and hundreds of Siksha Guru, the instructing spiritual master, will tell you what to do now, will guide you. All right? Will advise you, okay, now you do this, okay, now you do this. All right, now you take this. Okay, there's a lot of instructions spiritual master. You come for classes, someone will teach you. They are all considered instructing spiritual master. And what Chaitanya Charitamrita chapter 1 says, all these three are manifestation of Krishna. Because you may argue, hey, you are trying to ask me to take a instruction from another mortal human being who are not perfect. Even that human being also lives in a cage of material energy. How am I supposed to do it? That's what Krishna says you should read chapter 1, Chaitanya Charitamrita. What Kaviraj Goswami says, the three personalities, especially your Siksha Guru and your Diksha Guru. Your Chaitanya Guru is in your heart, cannot be seen. But Siksha Guru, the one who giving instruction, and Diksha Guru, the one who takes you, accept you as give you Diksha. These two personalities are manifestation of Krishna. Now, will you agree? Oh, yes. All right. Okay, empowered by Krishna. Okay, this I take it. So we take that instruction, and by serving that instruction, and by doing this, we can come out, even though we live in this contaminated body. All right, we can use this thing called Yukta Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya, use whatever things that you have, this body, the mind, the intelligence, or whatever things you have in the service of Krishna. That's what Krishna says. Krishna, the Siksha Diksha Guru will tell you what Krishna wants. He don't want it to be envious, because he's doing you the greatest service, right? When you are trying to do a great service to someone, all right? Say, like, for instance, okay, like okay, there's a big flood, like what happened in KL Shalam, big flood, and you're really going to help someone. You have taken all your resources. You're not paid to do this, but out of humanitarian act, you're going there. You want to save someone. Someone is asking, please help, you're going there. Another person, he's just standing there. You know, something like that. When you start to see envious people, will you really want to help the flood? So what I will think, I rather go and help someone who really needs me compared to the one who are envious of me. Right? So I rather chuck him away. You go and drown or go to hell, is your problem. But I want to say, so similarly, Krishna cannot tolerate people who are very envious. Right? So, but once we surrender to Krishna and everything, Krishna is willing to give you everything. So at that moment, but after, not only Krishna, even Lord Shiva says in Padma Purana, what he says, don't worry. Even a devotee who dies in ignorance, or dies, no, he didn't use the word ignorance, he said die in forgetfulness, I shall go and remind him. Send the assurance you have. So all the great personalities are assuring you. Lord Brahma is our Param Guru, he's in our Parampara, he's our spiritual master. Right? And Lord Shiva is authority. What are the 12 Mahajans? We studied that in Bhagavad, right? In passing of Bhishma. 12 Mahajans. And one of the Lord Shiva. And still people tell us that we are very sectarian and we do not respect the devatas, demigods. That's why stolen. Intelligence is stolen. So anyway, so we are. So while we are doing that, so we get that idea. Then what they call then with the instruction of spiritual master, we start to distinct. That's when we start to understand we are living in this kind of highly polluted, highly contaminated area, and will create an urge that you want to go back home as soon as you can. The devotees is the only people who do not fear death. They just can't wait for death. Right? It's not that I'm not saying that you go to commit suicide. So what I'm saying is, we will embrace death with excitement. All right? Embrace death with excitement. Why? We are discarding the body that we are irritated, we are disgusted, that we lived in for the last 8.4 million lifetime. Right? It's not sad to give it up. It's very exciting. Just like you are living in a slum, suddenly a government build one flats and give it to you. Right? You won't even look back. Oh, I got married here. All my children were born here. I cooked at that place. I drink that well water there. Everybody lived. Will you lament? No. When the government says this is the key, your flats is there, go and take it. You will pack your things. You will thank the officer. You just run away without. You don't even look back. So the same way. So that's when. So what Prabhupada is mentioning, even these, the speculators, right? The speculators, they still cannot understand Krishna beyond Brahman. After listening to all the, but whatever Krishna, God is light. At least these people can be accepted. The most foolish people is the atheist. Right? Why? Why that? Why this? Huh? And the worst thing when they start to compare with Mayan civilization. In South America, Mayan civilization. They say their calendar is so perfect. Our Vedic calendar can predict 100 years down the road when is the Purnami going to happen on February. All right, when they are talking about Mayan calendars, and they say a stone, a round stone, which is available everywhere in the world. They say that's the origin of Lord Shiva. That Shivalinga is the original. These kind of mental speculators, intelligence stolen by ignorance, by darkness, right? So we as a devotee, when we are trying to, do we really want to waste time with these kind of people? No. Jettison, throw them out, we just carry on, right? So that's why it's very, very important. Very important. So this is, so only the devotees who are fully surrendered, who only devotees who are fully surrendered unto the Supreme Lord can understand. They can understand. All right, they can understand this. But how? By the grace of the Supreme Personality, and that he is Krishna. So even Krishna need to come and tell about him, that I actually the Supreme Lord. If he doesn't tell you, no one will know you. No one will know it. So by his grace, right? That's why God is fair to everyone. You want material opulence, he gives you all the material opulence. You really want to give up and come back to me, he will give you the thing, you can go back to him. All right. So the devotees of, okay, now the devotees of the Lord do not bother about impersonal Brahman, conception of God. They say God is light. Jodi, 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 Suyam, Jodi, 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 Arul. God is light. God is this. They are not bothered. Call Allah whatever you want. I have no time to argue with you. All right. Their faith in devotion. Their faith and devotion. Very important, your faith. What is faith? Once you make the decision, you stick to the decision with full of conviction. It's not after you decide, really, am I in a real movement? The right. You must have faith. So, for, Prabhus and mothers, I want to tell you this one thing. You are the most fortunate people in the entire universe. You are more fortunate than the rishis that are sitting and meditating in Himalayas. You are more fortunate than Tata, Birla, or whoever it is. Right? You have no one to look upon. You may think someone is more opulent than you. No, you are the most fortunate. Being opulent is not a big deal, but being fortunate is the big deal. You are the most fortunate people. They say, even if you can chant the word Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, it's considered that you have perfected your siddhi as a mendicant, as a yogi. Even the yogi that do all this kind of tapasya, severe austerity to achieve something, right? That perfection is considered nothing if you can simply chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. What's the reference point? Go and read this thing called Harinama Chintamani. All right. If you don't have a book, you can go online, Google it. If you want, you can send me a message. I can send you, Harinama Chintamani. Harinama Chintamani was spoken by Haridas Thakur, who is a Muslim by birth. He spoke this to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is called Nama Acharya. So what it says, even a Muslim can become a Nama Acharya. So that means the chanting of the holy name is the topmost religious practice. It's a beautiful conversation. Harinama Chintamani. All right. So it says that. So now you are sitting here. You are not only chanting, you're listening to the Bhagavad Gita, you're following that Bhagavatam. Right. Hopefully after, because my Chaitanya Charitamrita class may finish around June, mid of June. If God willing, maybe we can start that class also. It's going to be a beautiful topic. Amazing topic. Postgraduate of the Vedic literatures. So anyway, so their faith, it becomes devotion. Okay, now the faith and devotion bring them to surrender immediately unto the Supreme Lord. All right, the faith and devotion. And out of causeless mercy, all right, and out of causeless mercy, Krishna says, okay, surrender to me. He's so merciful. They can, of Krishna, they can understand Krishna, that they can understand Lord Krishna. All right, they can understand Krishna. No one else can understand him. No one else can understand. So even great sages agree. What is Atma? What is the Supreme? It is he whom we have to worship. All right. So we end our session here. Thank you very much for such a wonderful time. I really enjoyed discussing. Very ecstatic. So if I've said anything wrong or offended anyone, please forgive me, because I just simply repeated what I've heard and what I've read according to the commentary of the Guru Parambara It is not outside the topic of that Guru Parampara. So do you have any questions, any comment?
No, Prabhu.
All good, huh?
Oh, very good.
Okay.
Thank you very
So-
much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Very good. But I humbly request everyone, chant Hare Krishna daily. Don't chant whenever you have the mood. You create the mood, right? Because you are living in the cage made of matter, and of course surrounded by the hallucinating energy, Maya. Right now you have intelligence. Now you can think. Okay, whenever you don't feel like chanting, you just tell yourself, this Maya is trying to hallucinate me. Right? Maya is trying to give me ganja, try to hallucinate me. Right? Okay, every day I must read Bhagavad Gita. I don't need lah. Then you should understand Maya is trying to trick you. Be very careful. All right? You got that opportunity after many, many births. So now is the time for you to express it. All right? With gratitude, always chant Hare Krishna. And of course, join these classes without fail. And also, what do you call, distribute books. Okay, distribution is something that pleases Krishna, especially Lord Chaitanya and entire Guru Parampara. Okay, with that, thank you. Because 9:30 I've got another Chaitanya Charitamrita class to start. Okay, with that, thank you very much. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhyo Patitaram pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna. Good night. Have a nice day.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Gauranga.